So here's a quick tutorial on how to use the audio recording feature in GarageBand. Fairly straightforward. We're going to create a new GarageBand project. You've got a couple of different options here. I tend to go for the loops option. Uh, those will just change a few of the options that you have on screen when you start up initially. I like programs that do this. It wants you to save your file even before you start using it. I'm going to place this file on the desktop and I'll call it test audio. Good time to mention that you should never use USB when doing anything to do with recording audio or video. USB is not fast enough to keep up. I wouldn't even recommend having your USB stick plugged into your computer while you're using any of those programs. If you need to copy something onto USB, close down the program, copy it on, vice versa, copy it off before you even start up the program. So here's GarageBand, a simple tour of the interface. This is where our different tracks of audio will appear. We've got options here for browsing through the different looped sounds that are available in GarageBand. We won't use those today. But we will be creating a new track in GarageBand so that we can record our voice. So I'm going to click the new track icon here in the bottom left. And we're going to be recording a real instrument, such as voice or guitar. If we wanted to record via MIDI from the keyboard, we could do that here, or guitar if we wanted to, but in this case we'll do real instrument recording. That creates a new track now in GarageBand. We can see it listed here. Okay? These are a couple of different controls for the track, including a record enable button. This turns on or off the ability to record on this track. And immediately as I start talking, we can start to see the audio level meter move. So this is a visual indication of the volume of the sound. Right now we're only noticing volume coming out of one channel. That's only coming out of the left channel. So we want to see movement on this audio level meter from both the left and the right, and we want to check our level before we begin recording. So over on this side of the screen here, and if you don't see this side here on your screen, go ahead and click the info button here. We can change the input source. We're using an MBOX unit to attach our microphone to the computer. So we want to record, in this case, and it could depend on your setup might be a bit different, but we are going to record in mono. That means same sound out of left and right speaker in mono from the MBOX unit. And as soon as I switch that, if I zoom into the screen now, we can see that the audio level meters are moving. Okay? Important note about getting the audio level correct. If I'm talking into the microphone and my audio level is barely fluttering like that, the level is too low. Okay? We're going to have a difficult time hearing the sound. Consequently, if I start talking into the MBOX and the audio level meter bangs into the red lights on the far right here, our sound is going to be too high in level and very distorted. So we're looking to balance the level meter so that it occasionally peaks into the red or yellow, but doesn't stay there. You may need to adjust the input level on the MBOX like I'm doing right now so that the audio level isn't too high and that it isn't too low. Once I've got that audio level set correctly, before I begin recording, and it's always a good idea to remember that you should not have these speakers on while you're recording. Okay? It's not a PA system. You shouldn't at any point hear your voice over the speakers while you're talking into the microphone. You may end up with feedback. So to very quickly make an audio recording here, now I've got the level set right, I'm going to press the red record button at the bottom here. Just before I do that, I'm going to turn off the metronome function because I don't want to hear any ticking. And I'll hit the red record button, and GarageBand is now recording my voice, and we can see a waveform being created. This is a visual representation of the volume of the sound, and that can help us when it comes time to editing the sound later. We can also tell the volume of the sound by looking at this sound wave. If the volume of the sound is too low, the waveform will barely flutter. Consequently, if the volume of the sound is way too high, the waveform will be cut off at the top and bottom like a plateau, and the sound will be very loud and distorted. So we're looking for that balance just in between where we can see the waveform moving as I'm talking. I'm going to stop recording. If we want to play back the sound and hear it, I'm going to first turn off the microphone on the MBOX. Then I can turn up the speaker controls here. So I'm going to rewind the track back to the beginning. Press play, and I should be able to hear my sound coming up.
And GarageBand is now recording my voice, and we can see a waveform being created. This is a visual representation of the volume of the sound.
At the moment I'm not hearing sound play out of the MBOX. I'm just going to check in the system preferences under sound, and I want to ensure that the sound output is outputting to the MBOX as well. Input is also coming in through there. So let's play this through now and see what we've got.
And GarageBand is now recording my voice, and we can see a waveform being created. This is a visual representation of the volume of the sound.
Okay. This waveform can be used to edit your sound. So we can sit near the edge of a track and either hide or reveal parts of our track if we need to. Think of it like a measuring tape. Okay. We can also trim audio based on this waveform. So if I find a spot here that I wanted to trim, I can come up to the edit menu and I can split a track so that now I have two different regions of the track. I can move them ahead in time or back in time. I can even delete them if I just wanted to isolate part of a sound. I can play this through again.
And that can help us when it comes time to editing the sound later.
If I'm happy with my GarageBand project and I'm ready to export it to something like Final Cut Express, we need to head to the Share menu at the top of the screen. And in this case, we're going to share the song to disk. We don't need to compress the audio quality. This is really important when you're exporting to GarageBand or to Final Cut. We don't want to cause Final Cut to have to render our audio, so leave that unchecked for CD quality. Export the sound. I'll put it onto my desktop in this case. Exporting goes quite quickly, and here's my finished audio on the desktop playing through the MBOX, which you can't hear at the moment.
And that can help us when it comes time to editing the sound later.
That's it, and that file can be directly ported into Final Cut Express.